Hello everybody, welcome to Battle Report number 8. So, I got my lizardmen out. No, they're not called lizardmen, they're called Saurian Ancients. Bank of England has raised its UK growth rate, wonderful. So, yeah, I got the lizards out today, 4,500 points. Silas and I again here in Suzhou. It's Chinese New Year at the moment, so we're the only two people in our group that are actually playing through Chinese New Year. Most are either off with their families or are off on holiday. And I was thinking that demons and against dwarves again and again and again was getting a bit boring. So I got my Saurian Ancients out. I've not written up an army list because it takes ages, so I'm just going to talk you through everything instead, starting with the scenery. So we've got a wall here, house here, forest here. This is actually an Anvil of Doom, but we realise that its base is the wrong size and change that out later on. Hill, water, field, ruins, and more ruins here. So, on the two sides then, we've got a great big unit of greybeards here. We've got some Forge Wardens, I think they're called here. Kingsguard here. 2 units of Rangers, both with scoring. A small unit of greybeards here. 2 catapults. And then the Thane, who is the general, is here. And the BSB, I think, is in here, but I can't quite see him at the moment. On Silas's side. On my side, you've got Tarasaur, the Skink Priest, unit of 3 Rompedon Riders, a Skink Captain on a Pterodon, a Veteran on a Raptor, 25 Saurian Warriors, there's BSB right there, 20 Skinks with 2 Caimans, a unit of 10 Hunters, and 2 Salamanders. Now you're probably wondering, why are we deployed on this side of the board? And it's actually because I started deploying first, and I started deploying these units first, and Silas wanted to come over to meet me. Straight away that actually puts him in a little bit of trouble here, because he's got to get past this water, and he can't march into it, he can't march through it, he can't march out of it. So he's gonna be really stuck here straight off the bat. But that's life, I suppose. Right, so this is deployment, so on to Vanguards. Okay, I probably should have explained the battle setup. So this is the one where Silas is the defender and I'm the attacker. So I've got a wider deployment zone here on the flanks, sorry, a longer deployment zone here on the flanks, but a shorter deployment zone here in the centre. The secondary conditions, the secondary objective is breakthrough, so get into your opponent's deployment zone. So I've just made 2 Vanguards, 1 here as this unit, so I think it's come out of the ruins, and then the Rompedons and the Captain are heading off here with the cover of the house against this big unit of Strength 5, only 18 inches, only ballistic skill 3, but still Strength 5 missile troops. So, yes, that's Vanguard. There you go. Okay, so change of board angle here then. Silas got the first turn because he deployed quite a lot of his army early on, not all of it, but most of it. And my dinosaurs had gone down here at some point, so I think that sort of partly influenced his decision to head over here, so that you can't quite see them, they're just off screen, but it's going to be a bit of a trek for them to get around here. Anyway, on to Silas's movement phase, and you can see that the Kingsguard here have entered the water, the Greybeards are coming up around the side of the house, trying to use that to protect them from the dinosaurs, and the Forge Wardens are standing still. Likewise with the Greybeards and the catapults, the Rangers over here are advancing. So that's Silas's movement. Okay, so this is the end of Silas's turn 1. He got the Rune of Shattering off on the Anvil. You see the Anvil has changed there. Rune of Shattering, which does 2d6 strength 4s against the Salamanders. He rolled an insane number for it. And I just thought, you know what, I'm not going to be able to dispel that. So I didn't. And he killed 8 skink hunters with it, but they passed their panic. So just the 2 skink hunters left in there. Not a great start for me. He got the Rune of Storm off on the salamanders as well. I failed a dispelling roll of an 8 on 3 dice, which was annoying. But I don't think he caused any wounds. I think he only got 1 hit, which then failed to wound or something like that. And then I dispelled his magical move, which I think he was going to cast on this unit here, because I didn't want this unit leaving the water. I want that unit to stay in the water for as long as possible so I can breathe lots of fire on them. So that's the magic phase. And then in the shooting phase, these 2 units here use their throwing weapons at the salamanders. We realised in the game we played today that salamanders are not skirmishers. I thought they were, but they're not. They're light troops, but light troops doesn't make you a skirmisher. So the salamanders probably should have taken a hit or 2 more, but anyway, they didn't. And there were no wounds caused there. And then the left catapult, this one here, killed a Rampadon over here. So that was Silas's shooting, no combat, so that's the end of his turn 1. Okay, so my movement phase here then, and you can see that I've not declared any charges. I've run the skinks back into the ruins. I'm just going to keep them there now. Their skirmish is going to be at long range, -2 for the ruin, so I'm hoping not to completely lose this unit by the end of the game. But if I do have to lose it, then I can throw it in the way of this unit when it finally gets out of the water, so that's why they're there. I've brought the skinks and the caimans up, and I'm hoping to go this way. I'm thinking that this 2 caimans are going to be able to help out the skinks, and should be able to take on these rangers, maybe. And I want this threat here so that the salamanders can come through this gap over here and start breathing fire on this unit. Moving up with the big block, because that's really just what it does. And then the 3 dinosaurs, pterosaurs I think they're now called, are making their way over to the house here. And then the skink captain has used his full 18-inch march to get over here. I'm hoping to go at the war machines with him. He's got a nice little setup actually. He's got not scaly skin, what's it called now? Innate defense 6+, mounted, light armor, and a luck shield, or lucky shield, so he discounts the first hit. But he's still on a 3+ armor save, which is nice. And then the Rampadons are over here. There are toads or markers. You can see one there, and then the other one is on this unit here, where this unit's frenzied, but they get an additional D3 for their frenzy against these 2 units because they've been marked. So yeah, that's my movement. Okay, so end of my turn 1 here. In the magic phase, I got Pounding Drumbeat on my 3 dinosaurs here. Used the aura version of it, so I managed to bring them up quite a bit actually with that. Silas Dispel Break the Spirit, which would have affected the shooting of this unit, and I failed to cast Awaken the Beast, which is my 3rd spell. My Skink Priest has got 3 spells here. So that was my magic phase. And then up here you can see that this unit of Rangers has taken quite a hit from my Salamanders. Now, for anyone that doesn't know Lizardmen, Salamanders are one of the most powerful units in their army, really. They do D3 hits per rank or per file, depending on whether you're on the front or the flank. So each salamander does D3 per rank or file, and on anything, because it's a flamethrower weapon, on anything other than a 1 it hits. So this unit here had 3 ranks, so that was 1, 2, 3, 3d3 times 3 at the time. I'm not sure what happened to that. Oh, I think one of them died earlier. I think I must have incorrectly noted it. Anyway, so that's 3 times 3d3 hits at strength 4, which hit on anything other than a 1. So they're brutal, as you can see. So that caused the panic of the Rangers, and then I killed a few greybeards over here with some poison shooting. And that was the end of my turn 1. Okay, so this is the end of Silas's movement 2, and you can see from the photograph angle that we only end up sort of using half the board, which favours me a bit really, because it's the half with water in it. That's just the way it went, I suppose. So what happened in the movement phase? Well, you can see no charges. These 2 units have both reformed here to do some shooting this way. And then the Greybeards have come up here using, again, the side of this house to block the line of sight of all of these Stegodons. So that, sorry, not Stegodons, Pterosaurs. So they're going to have to end up going round here. The dwarves have moved through the water, but are still kind of stuck in there. They can't march through it. It's quite a big piece of water. And the rangers over here have rallied. So yeah, that's it. I don't think that unit there has moved. Oh, actually, yes, it has. Sorry. Yes, it has. This unit has moved up there. So that's it. That's Silas's movement turn 2. Okay, now as you can see, we've somehow missed another photograph, and honestly, guys, I'm so sorry about this. I don't know what's happening, because I swear I did not miss any photographs. I was absolutely militant about it. I think I must just be deleting them when they're in my pocket or something. I don't know. Anyway, let's just talk you through Silas's turn 2. So he got a 5 and a 1 on his magic phase, and he cast Gleaming on his Greybeards here, which gives them, I think, distracting and hard target. I dispelled the shattering on the Rompedons because I didn't want them dying. They were over here at the time. And then he flung both of his catapults at the Saurian warriors over here, hit with both, caused a total of 9 wounds. The Saurian warriors passed their leadership test. Did a wound on the Skink Captain with the Forge Wardens here. Now, of course, at the time, the Skink Captain was at long range, so it's also, I've got in my mind that it's a skirmisher, but it's been a long time since I've used this unit, so if I'm wrong about that, then please tell me. But I have a feeling, because it's riding a Pterodon, it's a skirmisher. So anyway, that's the way that we played it. If I'm wrong, do please say so. So it was skirmish, long range, and what was the other one? Skirmish, long range. Oh, and they'd moved, of course. So, yeah. Got 1 wound through. I used the lucky shield to deflect one of the hits that got through, and that was that. What else happened? The salamanders were shot at by the rangers, but the rangers missed their shots. So that was, well, some hit, but none wounded. So that was the end of Silas's turn 2. Okay, so what you can see here then is my turn 3. So you can see that the Skink Captain has charged into combat against, the catapult. And then I've declared a charge here with these 2 units on the flank. I obviously had my veteran over here and the what they're called, Rompedons, over here. And I just thought to myself, you know what? He's not going to flee because I'm Swift Stride and I was pretty close to him, and that would just be suicidal. But I wasn't sure that I could make it into combat here, and I didn't want him fleeing this way and it getting all complicated and messy over here. So I just charged with these 2, and then I moved these up thinking, well, I'm going to probably win combat because I'm going to get flank, double charge, few wounds. He's going to be hitting me on the side. He might reform, but then I'll be able to come in with support later on. So I was thinking just to keep all that locked up there. So that was that. And then the salamanders moved around here to breathe some fire onto this unit. Skinks have come out here just so that they can get in the way later, because they'll be too far here for moving later on, and I don't think he's going to waste shots killing a couple of skinks. He might do, but I don't think so. So that's the end of my movement turn 2. Okay, so end of my turn here then. I've got a 4 and a 4 on the magic phase, and so I cast Break the Spirit on the Forge Wardens here, not wanting to get some strength 5 shots into my Pterosaurs. That managed to pull out Silas's Dispel Scroll, so that's not so bad. I did manage to get the aura version of Drumbeat off because my 4 dice rolled more than Silas's 4 dispelling dice. So that was good. The Tarasaur on the left did 3 wounds on this catapult here. The centre and the right Tarasaurs did a total of 4 wounds on the Forge Wardens. Then in combat, my Skink Captain did only 2 wounds against this catapult, which was a bit disappointing really, because he's got 5 attacks. He's got the Sword of Heroes, so he's weapon skill 4 with 5 attacks at strength 5. So I was hoping he was going to do a little better than that, because of course he doesn't need to roll to hit because it's a war machine. Thank you to, I think it was Thomas that pointed that out last time. So I was kind of hoping he'd do at least 3, if not 4, but there you go. And then, during the combat phase, something absolutely bonkers happened, which was that the Rampadons and the Veteran actually won combat by 1, and then the Dwarves failed a leadership test, and then failed the reroll of the leadership test. On a two rolls of a 9 he needed, and he rolled 2 10s. Madness. So what we've actually got right now then is these dwarves kind of running across the middle of the battlefield, are pursued with the Rampadons, and then are reformed with the Veteran here. So yeah, very, very peculiar what's going on over here. So yeah, there you go. Quite annoyingly for him, this unit here can't actually charge the Rampadons, because if you look, you'll notice that this unit here is actually blocking the path. They can't move forwards, they can't curl around it. So yeah, that's sort of quite frustrating for Silas, I think. So that was the end of my turn 2. Okay, so Silas's movement then, and he declared a charge on one of the Salamander units. Can't remember which one. I think it was this one. And they fled. And then he redirected to go into the other one, which also fled. And then he failed this charge, but obviously that means that my salamanders are busy running away. So that was that. And then he reformed later on in the middle here. So his units are kind of lumbering in the way of each other. He wanted to charge here at the Skink Captain, but he couldn't because he's so close to the catapult that he can't actually get around it. Not sure actually whether, I don't think, please correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I don't think a unit can charge into combat with a war machine. Maybe, I'm not sure actually. Very rarely get into that situation. I don't use war machines myself, being a Demons and occasional Saurian Ancients player. So if you know about that, then do say so. Right, so that's Silas's movement phase. And just in case you want to see it, here is an alternative view of the battlefield at the end of my turn 2. Okay, so end of Silas's turn here. So in the magic phase, he has cast the rune. Let me just check my notes here. What's it called? The Rune of Resolve, which gave this unit a magical move here. So that was fine. Then I cast Shattering on the Salamanders, but then he got Rune of Storms off on this unit of Salamanders here, causing 4 wounds on it. So that was that. Not sure whether I should have taken a panic test there or not. I figured I was already fleeing, so I wasn't sure whether I would have or not. We left it because we weren't sure. The Rangers... Oh, news. The Rangers over here failed to do any wounds on this Salamander, which was very depressing for them. So that was that. Catapult here hit and killed 5 Saurus warriors. So he's actually on, I think, 5 out of 5 hits for shots from that catapult at this point, which is bonkers really. But there you go. 1 wound on one of the Tarasaurs up here from the Forge Wardens. And then during Silas's turn, my captain killed the catapult here, but took a wound himself. It seems, somehow. Not sure how. So anyway, that's the end of Silas's turn. Now, you'll notice just for a moment that I've left this picture up here because we ended up following this with a very complicated situation. And so I'll show you what we did about it in a moment. But we ended up with a conversation about if this unit of Forge Wardens flees, then it will flee through this unit here, meaning that it will come out here. Now, at the start of the combat, the two Rampadon riders here can't see the Forge Wardens. But if they were to flee from the Taurosaurs before the Rampadons declared any charges, and they flee immediately, it says in the rulebook they flee immediately. So they flee through this unit, come out the other end of it. Does that then mean that the Rampadon riders can subsequently declare a charge still in the charging subphase here, even though they can't see them at the start of the charge subphase? I said I think that it could, because it does say you declare your charges one by one. And it says that when a flee reaction is declared, then the fleeing happens immediately, quote unquote. So that took us a very long time to sort of come to any kind of conclusion about. So if we got that wrong, or if we got it right, please tell us. I think I got it right. I said that they would be able to flee because the charges are one by one. But if I'm wrong about that, please say so. Okay, so this is the movement phase here. And while Silas had initially declared a flee here, I felt that possibility was quite harsh, and I wasn't sure about it. So I gave him the option to start again, which we did do. So obviously, if this unit fled and then it ended up here and then it got charged off, it would go through this unit, off the board, which just is ridiculous. But I think it's technically correct. So anyway, not much of a better chance receiving a charge from two Taurosaurs, but some chance at least. So anyway, the two Taurosaurs went in here and one Taurosaur went in here. And then the Skink Captain had flown over here, being a Forest Strider, and into this second catapult here. What else has happened? Well, the Saurian Warrior unit's been able to march full distance, getting out of the arc of vision of this unit, so it's heading off towards the secondary objectives there, because there's just not enough guys left in this unit. They're taking quite a catapult pounding. I'm happy for that, because it means that my Taurosaurs haven't, but they're not really fit for any more fighting. And then we have rallied, I think, both of the what are they called here? Salamanders here. So that's that. Okay, so in my magic phase, I failed to get off Break the Spirit. Silas dispelled Awaken the Beast, and that was the end of my phase. We made a mistake at some point. Over here. I tried to shoot both salamanders. I shouldn't have done. I was thinking because they were skirmishers, which actually they weren't, but I was thinking because they were skirmishers, they could rally and shoot, but they're not skirmishers. And I'm not even sure whether even skirmishers can rally and shoot. Anyway, this salamander misfired, so I suppose I get what I deserve there for not knowing the rules. This one did, though, cause one wound on the King's Guard, but I don't suppose it made a big difference at the end of the day. The Greybeards over here only took a total of 3 wounds and passed, because just passed their leadership test. The impact hits were really poor. I got a 3, I re-rolled it and got a 1, so I only got 2 impact hits, and then the Thunderstomp didn't do very much. So that was a bit depressing. And then the Skink Captain managed to pull apart the catapult, which was only down to like 2 wounds by now because they'd been shooting earlier. So it's overrun into the anvil here. So that was that. Earlier on, I think I forgot to mention, I passed my frenzy test and just went over here to threaten this unit, try and finish this off with my Rampadons. And of course, my skinks had moved up here, but that was before. So I think that's it for turn 4. 3, 3. Okay, so Silas's movement phase then. And what's happened here is that these two rangers have charged my Salamander, which is down to 1 wound. And I thought, you know what, I don't really want to fight that fight because they've only got to get 1 through. So I fled, which caused this unit to panic, and they failed their cold-blooded panic test, which was really annoying. So then let me think about this. This unit here redirected into this unit, which caused it to flee again. And then this unit here charged at the Salamander, which caused it to flee again. So all kinds of fleeing and madness going on down this side of the board here. What else has happened in this phase? So the dwarves have continued to try and get through the water. We're on turn 4 and they're still swimming, those poor little guys. They're having a really rough time of it with that lake there. You'll notice that the Greybeards here have not made an effort to get towards my my Saurian warriors here. I think why is it? I think actually this unit couldn't see them at the time, so I think he's kind of wheeled through. Either that or they failed to charge, one or the other. It's been a couple of days since we played this game, so sorry guys, I'm not 100% sure, but for some reason didn't get in there. So yeah, that's, I think, the end of the movement phase. Okay, so end of the turn here, and Silas got a 3 and a 3 on the magic phase, but I channeled. He cast Distracting and Hard Target on the Kingsguard here, but I saw exactly what he was doing. He was hoping I would dispel that so that he could do the magic move out of the water, which was definitely not going to happen. So I dispelled that instead. So those dwarves are staying right where they are. So that was that. No shooting from Silas, of course, because his catapults are gone and his rangers both charged. And his Forge Wardens are already dead, so we went straight into combat. And you'll notice that the Anvil took off the last wound from the Skink Captain, which is quite frustrating. So now the Anvil is no longer in any danger. The Taurosaur underperformed hugely again over here. Only did another 2 wounds. It's got 5 Skink attacks, might get 1 through, 4 attacks of its own, and Thunderstomp. So that was very depressing. And that unit passed their leadership test again. So that was quite annoying. And that is the end of Silas's turn 4. Okay, so my movement 4 then, and you can see what I'm going for straight away. I've run the Skinks up here so that this unit will charge at the Skinks, rip through them, might as well overrun, stop with the Veteran, and then the 2 Stegodons will come in from behind is what I'm going for there. I'm expecting this Stegodon to eventually break through this unit and then is going to go after the Anvil. Whether he'll get him by the end of the game or not is another matter. And then the Rampedons have charged this unit on the side here. Both of these units have rallied, thankfully, and the Saurian warriors are heading off towards the secondary objective. Now, at this point in the game, I'm starting to think, you know what, I've only got 1 scoring unit heading towards the secondary objectives, and Silas has got a scoring unit here, scoring unit here, and a scoring unit here. This might not make it through because of the dinosaurs, but he's still got 2 to my 1, so I'm going to have to start getting these Skinks off this way. Now, they are movement 6, so they can march 12, so they've got 24 inches of movement left here, but I'm going to have to get a pounding drumbeat spell off to get them that extra 2d6 inches. Fortunately, because Silas was the defender, his deployment zone in the middle is quite a bit bigger. And mine, because I was the attacker, is quite a bit smaller. So he's got to get pretty close over here, whereas I've only got to get sort of up to here-ish. So it is possible, but it's still quite difficult. So that's the end of my movement anyway. Okay, so my magic phase then, and I got Break the Spirit on the Kingsguard, so when they charge they're going to have to take some dangerous terrains. Silas dispelled Awaken the Beast, which I think I put on, let me think about this, I think I put that on one of my Stegodons because these Kingsguard have got great weapons. And I didn't have any use for my final spell, so I didn't cast it because I didn't want to risk the miscast. Salamander got 2 wounds off on this unit. No wounds on the unit from all the poison shooting, so that was the end of shooting. The Rangers over here passed their leadership test. The Rampadons did 0 wounds, which is very depressing. That even included Stomp. But one piece of good news was that the Tarasaur over here did manage to finish off those 5 dwarves, so he finally did what he was supposed to do. Unfortunately, he killed them. They didn't actually run away, so he couldn't actually pursue them, which meant that, of course, this gap here wasn't closed down any, which is a bit frustrating, but there you go. So that's the end of my turn 4. Okay, so Silas's movement 5 here then. You can see he's charged the skinks here because he's got to. He's picked the anvil up and he started to head away from it just to extend this gap a little bit up here in the corner. He's heading for my deployment zone with this greybeard unit down here. And the Rangers have come around ready to engage the Rampadons later on. And that is Silas's movement turn 5. Okay, end of Silas's turn 5 here then. So we got a 4 and a 3 on the magic phase. So he's got 7 dice against my 4. Nobody channeled. He rolled to get rerollable close combat hits on his Kingsguard, obviously preparing for the charge of the dinosaurs later on with those strength 6 weapons. Well, great weapons. He cast that with 3 dice and I failed to dispel it with 4 dice, which was very depressing. But then, some consolation, his attempt at shattering caused no wounds, and his attempt at the storm rune failed to cast. So that was something at least. And remarkably, the Rangers, as they're shooting at the salamander here, have all missed again. I think it might be because we counted it as a skirmish, at which it's not, but we didn't realise that at the time. In fairness, this should be dead now. So yeah, that's the end of Silas's 5. Okay, so my movement turn 5, and I do apologise, guys, if I'm making mistakes with this Saurian Ancient Army. It's literally been about 3 years since I pulled out of the box, but I just got bored of, like I say, Demon Legions against Dwarven Hold, so I just had to do something to change that. So if you do see me making mistakes, I do apologise, but it is literally years since I played with this army. So do bear with me. So my movement phase then, I think we're down to one guy here. I've not charged with the Tarasaur here because I just thought, you know what, that's going to fail. So what I'll do is I'll get the march, I'll take the single dangerous terrain test, get out of the forest, and I'll charge the anvil in turn 6. Because if I fail the charge, and then he moves away, I'm not going to get it at all. So I thought, you know what, better to delay and get it later. So the Tarasaur there is marched. Obviously we've got the charge in the flank and the charge in the rear, and then a charge in the front I've received as this unit's overrun here. The Saurian warriors have headed deep into this area to make space for the skinks and the caimans, who've gone their full 12 up here, and the salamander continues to hang out in the ruins over here. So that's the end of my movement 5. Okay, so end of my turn 5 then. In the magic phase, I got a 4 and a 4. I managed to get pounding drumbeat on the skinks, which moved them up quite a few inches. So they're going to be able to reach the deployment zone, which is sort of somewhere here-ish, in turn 6. So that's great news. Rangers took a wound from the salamander. The majority of the unit's not in the field, so no re-rolling wounds there, which is sad. There you go. And I did a couple of shots with my quick-to-fire giant blowpipes and my javelins. So that only leaves 2 wounds on the anvil, so hopefully I can finish it off in the final turn of the game. In combat, I issued a challenge because I thought, you know what, my general's facing a lot of guys there, and I don't want him to be taking all those hits. So I issued a challenge, which his champion accepted. That meant that the BSB could still be used for combat. Without having to face off the general. It's got the hold stone in there. That thing is insane. The hold stone allows the unit to treat any direction as its front, so it can give supporting attacks backwards. And then re-rolling supporting attacks with weapon skill either, I think, 5 core troops. No, these are Kingsguard special troops. But I still think Greybeard's a weapon skill 5 anyway. With great weapons, so they're strength 6, so that's re-rollable strength 6 on my dinosaurs. You can see that this one got down to 1 wound, and this one took on 1 wound, so 4 wounds here, 1 wound there, leaving 1 wound here and 4 wounds there. But at the end of combat, I caused 14 wounds between my impact hits, my thunder stomps, and the overkill and all the rest of it. And the unit broke, needing a double 1, and was caught by my general here. So that's a major victory point there in the game, really. Elsewhere, I finished off this unit, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna expose my flank to you here. Because what I'm trying to do is bait him into charging this unit here and coming out of my secondary objective deployment zone here. So we shall see whether the bait was taken or not in a moment. Okay, so Silas's movement 6, and you can see the answer is that no, the bait wasn't taken, but something else kind of as good instead happened, which was that the unit charged through the field into this salamander. Now they're going to smash through the salamander, but the majority of the unit isn't going to be in this deployment zone, whereas the majority of my 2 units will be now. So that means that I'm going to get the secondary objectives. So I'm happy to pay the cost of a salamander for that. What else has happened? I think this unit ended up sort of marching further off into the secondary objective area here, and then the dwarves have hoisted up the anvil up the hill here, just to put a bit more distance, just on the off chance that I might fail that charge there. So that's the end of Silas's movement 6. End of Silas's 6 here, and you can see that it's smashed through the salamander, which is fine, and you'll notice the hill has moved here, but it kept on sort of sliding around, so we just repositioned the hill, and that's why that's there like that. In the magic phase, he got a 6 and a 3. I dispelled the shattering rune. Storm did 3 hits, 1 wound on this pterosaur, which I saved on a 6. So that's really lucky, and to be fair, Silas deserves the points for this pterosaur, and he's a bit hard done by, frankly, that he hadn't got them. But there you go. He got the rending on the rangers over here. Sorry, Rune of Reckoning, which gave them re-roll to hit, so they were definitely going to finish that salamander off. So yeah, that was that. I wonder actually whether Silas could have cast the Rune of Resolve on that unit instead, and if he'd have gone another 6 inches, would that have taken him into my deployment zone? Probably not, actually. He would have needed to have reformed and then moved, but he couldn't do it in that order, of course, so there you go. Right, that, I think, is the end of Silas's turn 6. Okay, so my turn 6 then, and one of my dinosaurs has made it into combat here. He needed to roll an 8 on 2d6, but I thought, you know what, turn 6, what else is he going to do? So I made the charge and he made it, which was good. This dinosaur I didn't want going into that charge, because he's only down to 1 wound. So after this dinosaur had moved out of the way, I pivoted him for free, because single model, and then I marched him over here. So that's why he's over there. I think it probably moved him too far by looking at that photograph. I'm not sure why he's that far up, but anyway, either way, he was going to be within 12 of that, because he can move 12 and then shoot 12, so that was going to be fine. Elsewhere, what's happened? The Rompedons have moved around here past their leadership test, so they can throw a couple of javelins if need be, and then the skinks have marched into the deployment zone over here. The raptor, the general on the raptor, also made this charge, but that's to be expected because he swift strides on a 7. So that's the end of my movement 6. Okay, so end of my turn 6 here then. And obviously this Tarasaur hadn't charged because I thought, you know what, I've only got to get 2 wounds. I've got a bunch of shooting here. Whereas if I might fail the charge and then I can't shoot, and I'm not sure this will definitely be enough. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to resist the temptation to get the impact hits, and I'm just going to go for the probably safer option. And that paid off. So between all this shooting here, I managed to finish off the anvil. And then over here, I managed to beat this unit, charge, rear, impact hits with sharpened horns, so I can re-roll if I don't like the number, thunder stomp, and then the generals 3, 4, strength 7, re-rolling 1. So that was a bit brutal. And the unit panicked and fled off the board, even though it was steadfast on a 9. So that was the end of the game, and I've got to say, I really felt sorry for Silas in this game because he failed a ridiculous number of leadership 11s. Leadership 9s. He failed 2 in the middle, which really screwed up his game plan, and he failed that one at the end as well. So that really shouldn't have happened. That was well out of the realms of probability, really. And then this dinosaur here should also be dead, and frankly, so should this one with the strength 5 shooting that it took, and it's just remarkably bad dice rolling that didn't happen. So in the end, Silas has been tabled 20-0, but had that unit at the end there not have fled, and had this unit have gone into the scoring zone, then that would have been a 15-5, which I think would have been a truer result. And even then, that's with the failing the extra leaderships and not taking out the 2 dinosaurs. And I just don't feel Silas is playing in a way that deserves a 20-0 loss. I think I deserve to win. I think on another day when the dice behaved within the realms of probability, I'd have probably won like a 12-8. But this is certainly not a 20-0, so I do feel sorry for my opponent. He's had it really harsh today. But there you go, dice games, what are you going to do? Anyway, that is it for today's game. We are going to play again tomorrow. It'll be another Saurian Ancients army against another Dwarven Holds army. I felt at the end of this that I didn't feel that this unit here, this Skinks with Caimans, had done an awful lot. And you can't throw them into combat because they're toughness 2. So although the Caimans do put out a bit of damage, the Skinks are just a liability. So I'm going to drop this unit and I'm going to replace it with just some chaff Skinks. They've got volley fire bows, so 3 ranks of 5 shooting. That's better. It'll give me 2 scoring units as well, which is good. The Rompodons did well over here in this combat, but they overperformed. That Frenzy's a bit of a liability. I needed a couple of BSBs to pass my leadership earlier. And I would like to bring some scouts in, so I'm going to look towards dropping them and seeing what I can do. As regards scouts, I would like more salamanders, but you're only allowed 2 units of up to 2 per army, so no more of those because they are very powerful. Anyway, that is the end of today's battle report, guys. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you've spotted any mistakes, like I say, I haven't pulled this army out for years, so I am really sorry if I've played incorrectly. Do say so below in the comments if I got anything wrong. I look forward to hearing from you, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.